G'day folks, it's Jim here from FX Charts. It's Friday the 15th of March. Well, there isn't an awful lot to provide much inspiration really at the end of the week. Sterling's a little bit lower after the latest Brexit vote to delay the Brexit date beyond the 29th of March for 3 months. But elsewhere most products have been pretty much range bound really. And it looks to me, in the absence of any really major data today, that we could stay that way. There are a couple of things that could move the market. I thought before we go and have a look at anything in particular, take a quick look at the dollar index here. The index has been pretty choppy in line with the actions in the dollar recently. This is a daily chart, and you can see that we're hanging pretty close to the yellow line here being the 100-day moving average. I think we're just going to continue with this choppy fashion. The MACDs are not really showing us an awful lot. They're pretty flat. The weeklies are pretty much the same. We could potentially, I suppose, come back down here to 96, figure 10, somewhere like that, or below there, even to the 200-day moving average, which is at 95 3/4. Right now we're at 96.75, and I just think we're likely to stay in this choppy fashion, as I said, and therefore probably range trading most of the currencies is the way to go. We'll go and have a look to start with at dollar yen actually today. Let me find dollar yen. Now that has broken above the 100 and 200-day moving average, which have converged at around sort of 111.30, sort of 35.40. We have got the BOJ meeting later on today. No changes expected today, but the statement press conference could be quite dovish. And we could see dollar yen resume its uptrend from the last couple of months. Now, I don't think we're going anywhere too far. If we look at the weekly charts, let me blow this up a bit. Dollar for the last 3 months has been hemmed in by this. This is the 100-week moving average. It's 110.80, and the 200-week moving average is at 112.25. So I suspect that it's a slow process, but trading that range will continue to bracket dollar yen. So bear that in mind. Buying the dips, selling the rallies. Probably the 30-35 point stop loss either side, in case we're wrong. Elsewhere, just looking at the euro today, it's a little bit lower, but it's trading around 113. I believe there's some fairly lumpy option expiries later on today at 113, so that'll probably contain it. On the downside, we're going to see support here. 200, 100-day moving hour moving averages are likely to provide support, and on the top side, this sort of 113, 30, 35, 40 area probably to provide the resistance on the day. The Aussie had a bit of a blip lower, but it's recovering. It's now pretty much unchanged, sitting once again close to the moving averages here on the hourlies. So I don't expect to see too much today. There isn't any Aussie data out today. There's a bit of secondary Chinese data, but I don't think that's really going to provide too much inspiration. And it wouldn't surprise me to see the Aussie somewhere around these sort of levels towards the end of the session, and possibly heading into the opening on Monday. The one thing that's I'm quite interested in at the moment is oil. Let me just get oil up here. Okay, here's a daily oil chart. Now we are breaking above this neckline, as I said yesterday. That's also the 200-week moving average, 100-week moving average, I beg your pardon. But I kind of like the idea that it's going to head higher. We're going to run into resistance here, which is at sort of 59.5, as I said yesterday. But beyond there, I think we can possibly trend towards 61 3/4, 62, where the 200-day moving average will provide some resistance. If we go to the Ichimoku chart here, as you can see, that's the moving average I was talking about, 58.30. So as long as we need to close above here today, really, for the week. This is a weekly moving average, so we need to close Friday above here. A close below 58.30 today would make me think again about being long. So I think leave stop losses below there. This Kijun, the weekly Kijun, comes in at around this 59.50 level. but then the weekly cloud up at 61.60, and I suspect that we are heading in that direction to meet that, and then we'll see again whether it can actually break into the cloud. But that's about it. There's not an awful lot else in the currency markets today. The main events being the BOJ meeting, which I already mentioned. The EU CPI might see a little bit of reaction in the euro, and then later on the States is fairly quiet. But we have got the Michigan consumer sentiment index, as well as the capacity utilization in the US industrial production. So that's about it for today. I don't think we're going to see an awful lot, but as I say, I do kind of like oil, and the dollar I think is generally a range trade. That's about it. Have a very good weekend. Talk to you next week. Cheers.